All right, so I was in and on Coslow A. Gripshover here because this is the brother, a older brother of Camillus. Camillus is going to be the baby of about 10 or 13 so Gripshovers, and Coslow is going to be the one that's right above him. So Coslow is going to be younger than him too. His father's Ferdinand. He's born. This is our guy, right? This is Albert, but it's listed as Albert on here because somebody had looked at this U.S. Census, and we're going to actually see the actual census. So this is sort of what I'm doing. We'll have, I'll type in Coslow, and then it'll say, hey, we found somebody that might be Coslow. So I'm going to either save it to my tree right up here, right, with all the new information that I come across, and either I'll transfer it, and here's where the stuff will be permanent on the right side, but the left side is sort of the new information. Here we have a check mark, right? So that's a good thing. Actually, it verifies that our father and the father of the new guy and the father of our guy is both has the same name. There is a question of him being Albert, though. It says his name is Coslow, but I see that his name is Albert. So we're going to look at the 1940 U.S. federal census for Albert Gripshover. And, it's going to load here. And this is what I'm looking at. So we're looking at sort of, these are people's lives, right? So we see Ferdinand and we see Albert and we don't see anything else, right? So we're actually seeing a lot of things are going down. So this is it. We'll see a lot of things here. So there's a lot of things I can check out here, and they're all highlighted, so it'd be easy to see. We see that Ferdinand Gripshover is a farmer, on a farm, right? So that's a good place to be a farmer. Um, an apprentice mechanic. So you have Albert Gripshover, who's an apprentice mechanic. He says he's working 48 hours a week. You have 60 hours a week who Ferdinand's working for, so they're all just really, slaving themselves out. Let's see, they don't have private work, but Albert does, so Ferdinand doesn't. We see Ferdinand is born in Germany, but Albert and Anna Verkamp, right? So we see a Verkamp here, Anna Verkamp, who they say is a niece. So Anna Verkamp would have been Catherine Gripshover's daughter. This is 1940, so Catherine Gripshover would have been dead, and this is Anna Verkamp. And then you had Mary Verkamp, who had married, I think they married Verkamps or they married Strube. I don't know. She's 60 years old, so she's old. I don't know if she's going to have any kids or not. Albert Gripshover is 43 years old, and we don't see anything that it says Coslow, so we don't actually get a sort of a hard, yes, this is who Coslow is. Now we know that he's 1903 is when Coslow was born, so we can take 43 years of age subtracted by 1940, and we get 1907. 1907 is when we get when this Albert Gripshover would have been born. And so again, that's not the same person. He should have been this should have been 1903. He would have been actually 47 years old and not 43 years old. We also see that their highest grade was the 8th grade. The highest grade Ferdinand was the 5th grade. Ferdinand Gripshover was 76 years old at the time. He's widowed, so his Ferdinand, you had Elizabeth Hellman is dead. You also see that he's not living with, it says Albert is Ferdinand's son. Okay, so that's the only kid that is still living with him. And we also can look at the neighbors too. So I'm explaining all this stuff because when I look at the census, I can, tell. I just told you all that information that I just saw, and that's easier to do it. And actually, maybe I should just make a video, for each one of them. It's kind of a pain in the ass to have to do it that way too. But we could see, when you look at the same evidence that I look at, you might be able to pull more information from than what I pulled. So you could look at the neighbors, you could sort of see migration patterns, you could see if they were friends. There's a lot of ways that you can go about this. And so since this isn't the same person, I'm gonna cancel this. I'm not gonna carry this on. Albert, I'm just gonna assume Albert Gripshover and Coslow Gripshover are two different Gripshovers. And Coslow, it says that he could have been. I wonder if that's Camillus. Coslow, Camillus. I don't know. They're kind of weird names or whatever. And maybe it was Coslow because it says it just according to that would have been that Coslow is actually younger than Camillus. But I'm pretty sure Camillus is the youngest one. So yeah, I'm gonna reject that. So I reject that information. And then let's see. I went ahead and kind of covered Ferdinand. Ferdinand was my guy, right? Ferdinand Elizabeth Hellman, and then Ferdinand. He's gonna have Camillus. And then I guess I could go from Camillus, and then Teresa is also a Gripshover, and Teresa was the one that had she came from George Anthony and Marie Damasco. So you're going to have a Gripshover type connection, right? So a Gripshover is going to marry a Gripshover, very similar to what we're going to see with Joseph Gripshover. Joseph Gripshover is going to do the same thing, and thank God, really, to be honest with you, because if Joseph Gripshover, if the daughter of Joseph Gripshover, I think is Emma something, but I'll tell you later. But if they didn't get married, then that Gripshover name would have died, and then it would have been like Catherine Gripshover, right? They would have changed the Verkamps, would have changed the Stroobs, and then we're just going to lose them. I don't know any Stroobs in my personal vicinity, and actually, I barely know my first cousins, let alone any of my extended family. Family would just being American. You're a white American. Shut the fuck up. Don't ask any questions about where you came from. That's pretty much what that's where I'm coming from. And it's like, oh, I'm German. Yeah, what's that mean? Oh, I don't know. Just we're from Germany. But just quit asking questions. Shut the fuck up. You're a white American. Join the Klan. Be racist. Join the Protestants. Do what everybody else is doing. That's normal. It's right. Quit speaking your German tongue. Be different, or be the same, but be different. But wait, don't be this. Don't be different. I don't know. So, anyways, Camillus Gripshover. Let's see his relationship to me, my maternal grandfather. Okay, so he's my mother's father. He was born in 1905, so he lived a long life. He's a big, 1905. He would have been a Great Depression baby, and that might have been sort of, the Great Depression made people tough as nails. It made them have no feelings and no emotion, and just sort of save whatever it is that they're able to save, and eat live chickens and stuff. But that's interesting. So he comes from, Camillus Gripshover. He comes from the Great Depression era, so his frugalness would have also been interesting. But also, an interesting thing about Camillus would have been he's the first generation Gripshover. So Ferdinand Gripshover was on the boat. He was one of the younger ones, and then he has a whole bunch of Gripshovers. But this is be the next generation. So this is how quick do we lose our German tongue? We lose it within one generation. Camillus is going to grow up, and he's going to go to English-speaking schools, and he's going to learn how to speak German. He's going to learn how to speak English. He's going to learn how to speak English from the schools and his peers and his classmates. And he's going to learn German, maybe in the schools if they still have bilingual education. Probably not. They're going to get rid of bilingual education during World War I in 1917. So he would have been 12 years old. So he might have had a German education in the beginning for the first 12 years. At a school, so he might have been taught how to speak a German language properly, but most likely his father speaking a Plattdeutsch language, that lower level German language, and he's able to speak with his papa. His papa might know enough English in order to get by, because it says on the U.S. Census that they know both of the languages. So they just, and then from the language is where you lose the culture. You're not speaking the language, you're speaking the language of the new lands, and you're adopting all the culture and everything of the new lands. I think it's beautiful and ugly at the same time. I think it's beautiful that we all say we're all together, but why don't we combine, be together based upon our humanity? Why be some nationalistic sort of, why say Germany isn't the greatest country, Kentucky isn't the greatest country, America is the greatest country? How's Kentucky worse than America? Kentucky's not worse than America. Kentucky is America, right? It's 1/5 of America. And it's also its own thing. So Kentucky is wonderful in its own right. Germany is wonderful in its own right. America is wonderful in its own right. There's pros and cons for each one of them. And in fact, having a nice sort of pro and con, debate with each one of those sort of nationalities, I think would be beneficial. It'd be beneficial instead of just being, I'm American, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we're all American. I'm German American, and I think being a German American actually makes me more of a fulfilled person, a person who's got a foundation. I didn't just join into this fucking bland racist culture bullshit, I want my history, I want my roots, and I want my culture. I don't, necessarily want to break off into my own little Germany, but I want to know who I am, and I want to teach my kids about who they are, and then I want that to sort of build from, generation to generation. So this Camillus Paul Gripshover, this is my grandfather. This is World War II pictures of him in the brambles. And this would be my, also my grandmother. So it'd be my maternal grandfather and my maternal grandmother, both being Gripshover. So these are first cousins once removed, and once removed means that that there's just a difference in generation. So they come from, this Camillus comes from Ferdinand Gripshover, the brothers is going to be Ferdinand Gripshover and Barney the Fifth. But Teresa doesn't come straight from Barney the Fifth. Barney the Fifth has, has George Anthony, and then you have Teresa. So you're going to have Barney the Fifth, you're going to have George Anthony, and then Teresa. So it took, two generations to produce a Teresa, but it only took one generation to produce a Camillus. That's why it's once removed. So they're both from like two different brothers, so they're first cousins, but because it took, from Barney the Fifth to George Anthony to Teresa, that's two generations, whereas it just went from Ferdinand to Camillus, and then that's it, where that only took two generations. So that's it's once removed because there's two different generations. He's about 20-something years older than her. She's 20-something years old, so it's, she's clearly a full-grown woman here, and I don't know. I don't look down on it. I don't make any judgment based upon it whatsoever. In terms of actually doing this history stuff, it makes it easier. They're first cousins, once removed. They're far enough. It's not. They didn't grow up like in the same household. It's first cousins. It's gross. It's weird, right? It's very close. But it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't growing up. It wasn't like, hey, they're cousins. Who gives a crap? I have heard one of my uncles make a joke. Oh, it's Kentucky. It's cousins are supposed to do. And funny joke, but it's weird. It's weird, and but it's not that weird. That's what I'm saying. And it's partly I'm biased, right? Of course, I don't want it to be as weird as it actually is. But we're gonna see the exact same thing actually happen with Joseph. Okay, so it's first cousins, once removed. He's 50-something years old. He comes back from World War II. He had a wife beforehand, and he has other kids. But then he marries Teresa, and then he winds up having 10 kids. 9 of them surviving. Tony's going to die in a car wreck, and she's going to die in 73 too. So she's going to actually die 11 years before he does. But they're baby boomers, right? So he comes home after World War II, marries his first cousin once removed, and has about 10 kids. This is in Union, Kentucky, Richwood, Boone County, Kentucky. So this is Camillus and Teresa. And then, let's see, we were doing Joseph. So this is the last of the brothers, right? We have 5 brothers, and then Joseph is the youngest. He was going to get thrown overboard. We got a nice little picture of his, right? We even got the little umlaut for his Gripshover name. He's going to marry Gertrude Lehmann, and Lehmann's, that's from Bayern. She's Bavarian. So any of Joseph and Gertrude descendants are going to be partially Bavarian. They're not just Prussian, but they're also Bavarian. So those are 2 types of Germans, and I think those... It doesn't matter to us Americans, us white people who just think all of Germany is just German and who gives a damn. But you go to Germany, probably even today, definitely then, but go today. And if you're from Baden, or if you're from Bavaria, or if you're from Berlin, or if you're from Westphalia, you're from a different state. It means something different, okay? What that actual meaning is, I don't know. But it matters, okay? So they're going to be Bavarians and Prussians, all the Joseph Gripshovers are. Now, the point that I want to point out is you have Aloysius Joseph, okay? And so that is, I don't know. This is going to be a mixture of things. I think Joseph has Anna Gertrude Gripshover, okay? So Joseph is the original Gripshover, and he has a whole bunch of kids. And one of the kids, he has a whole bunch of daughters, a few boys. None of the boys has any kids. And the daughters, the name gets lost out immediately. So Joseph Gripshover, he almost got thrown overboard on the Deutschland coming over here. And now he's going to lose his Gripshover name. But before he loses his Gripshover name, you're going to have Anna Gertrude, who's going to get married to a Gripshover, another Gripshover. And then she marries Aloysius Joseph Gripshover. And I think Aloysius is a different Gripshover. He's a Ferdinand Gripshover, okay? So he could very well be Joseph II, in a way. Maybe that's why they named him Aloysius Joseph, and maybe that's the attraction, right? The template for women's husbands and boyfriends is their father. And so you have Anna Gertrude who's going to marry Aloysius Joseph Gripshover. So this is 2 times we're going to see the Ferdinand Gripshover family and Barney the Fifth's family get together. This is going to be the first generation, though. So this isn't once removed. This is, I think it is an age difference, okay? So we're actually going to see this happen first with Aloysius Joseph is, you know, he's a Ferdinand, son of the Ferdinand, who's going to marry a daughter of Barney. Now, that's not what Camillus does. Camillus is the son of Ferdinand, but he marries the daughter of George Anthony, the daughter of Barney. So he does two different generations. But Aloysius and Anna Gertrude's marriage would have shown Camillus that, yes, first cousins can get married. So actually, this wedding will be probably the reason why Camillus and Teresa were confident in their wedding.